stand with you in this fight, and we will win.
You couldn't invent a scene that better explains our current politics than the one outside the Treasury in early February. The Democrats, one-time tribunes of the people, fiercely defending government employees from the taxpayers. The party of the oppressed putting it all on the line to protect federal bureaucrats from the people they're supposed to serve.
It seems every hour brings more news about a new threat Elon Musk poses to working people.
By what authority can you deny members of Congress their oversight role?
You don't have a business reason to be here.
You do not have authority, sir.
Choosing to die on the hill of the right of permanent government officials to spend money without any hindrance from President Trump's delegates is an especially odd decision.
He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers.
Now, expecting to make the government efficient is a tall order, even for an abrasive tech billionaire. But like all the best entrepreneurial activities, it may be outcomes other than the principal objective that end up the best justification for Mr. Musk's endeavors.
Nobody elected your ass.
The Democrats have lost their minds and they've lost their confidence. They have very little confidence. Today they tried to break into the Department of Education just because we want to go and check the books.
Let his children know that he was standing in the way of all children being educated.
Maxine Waters is a lunatic, and you know they're all lunatics, frankly.
Look them in the eye. Come on, hold your face up. Look at them. Let them see you. Who elected Elon Musk? Nobody.
Right now, the Department of Government Efficiency looks less Doge and more DOGA, a Department of Government Accountability, perhaps. As that acronym doesn't really work, perhaps it could be called Making American Government Accountable. You could even save a few $100,000 by repurposing some red hats.
We don't have a fourth branch of government called Elon Musk, and that's going to become real clear.
You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there, that where the money's going. Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going.
$70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland, $47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru.
The savings we were promised don't add up to much so far. But it's early, and it's still possible, of course, that Mr. Musk and his band of teenage budget slashers will hit pay dirt somewhere in the $800 billion defense or $1.8 trillion health and human services budgets.
You say you trust him. Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it.
Whether or not Doge succeeds in dramatically reducing the size of government, the paramount virtue of this exercise is the exposure of the hegemony in our system of a political class that sees itself as immune from popular accountability.
A few months ago, Elon Musk spent $280 million to buy an election for Donald Trump. Now, Elon Musk is here to collect on his investment.
Bear in mind that the Democratic Party outspent the Republican Party significantly in the 2024 election. Government is supposed to exist for the people.
We are here to fight back.
What the Doge process has laid bare is that, at scale, government exists first and foremost to further the interests of the permanent bureaucracy and their like-minded friends, who dominate almost all of our major institutions.
If you're a federal employee, raise your hand. We are proud of you.
That's why Democrats are so upset about the exercise. It's the most serious challenge to the control their people have long exercised, irrespective of election results and popular will. Elon Musk's targeting of USAID was only the beginning.
I told him to do that, then I'm going to tell him to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. But I campaigned on this, Brett.
The accountability Doge can bring should be emulated in other areas of public life where these interests have long dominated, immune from responsibility. Radicalized higher education, failing city governments, intellectually corrupt media and entertainment companies. Now, even Elon Musk can't do all of that, but the rest of us can make a start.
Rise today to address the Republican bait and switch that has been taking place throughout the 119th Congress. The Republican bait and switch has three elements. Part one, talk about lowering the high cost of living, but do nothing about it. Part two, enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations that will do nothing to improve the quality of life of everyday Americans. Part three, stick working class Americans with the bill for those massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations by destroying Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid as we know it. House Democrats want nothing to do with the Republican bait and switch, and we will do everything possible to stop it. The cost of living in the United States of America is far too high. Housing costs are too high. Grocery costs are too high. Insurance costs are too high. Utility costs are too high. Child care costs are too high. America is too expensive. It is not acceptable in the wealthiest country in the history of the world that far too many everyday Americans are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. It's time for us to do something about the high cost of living and to build an affordable economy for hard-working American taxpayers. House Democrats, hear you, we see you, we feel you when it comes to the pain being experienced by the American people, and we are determined to do something to make life better for you. But the Republican bait and switch has a very different plan. Last year, all we heard from my Republican colleagues was the need to do something about the high cost of living, while at the same time, they ran away from Project 2025 as if it didn't exist. This year, Republicans have spent all of their time implementing the most extreme parts of Project 2025 and have done nothing to lower the high cost of living. Not a single thing, not a single bill, not a single idea, not a single proposal from my House Republican colleagues to do anything about the high cost of living in the United States of America. Why? It's a Republican bait and switch. Part two of the Republican bait and switch is that their true objective is to enact massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations, just like they did in 2017. When the GOP tax scam was passed, where they set in motion legislation where 83% of the benefits would go to the wealthiest 1%. And now my House Republicans, our colleagues, are back at it. There they go again. Same plan. Nothing to drive down the high cost of living. Everything is about massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations, who in many cases aren't even asking for it. And they certainly don't need the relief that everyday Americans need, that working class Americans need, that middle class Americans need, that all those people who aspire to be part of the middle class need. It's a Republican bait and switch. What's the final element of the Republican bait and switch? Enact these massive tax cuts for billionaires and wealthy corporations and stick working class Americans with the bill. The nerve of this group of people who spent all last year lecturing the country about how they were going to do something to drive down the high cost of living, do nothing about it, are planning to enact massive tax cuts for their billionaire buddies, and then, as the final element of the Republican bait and switch, stick working class Americans with the bill. House Republicans have no plan to love and cherish Medicaid. Let's be very clear about that. No plan to love and cherish Medicaid. Their plan is to destroy Social Security, destroy Medicare, and destroy Medicaid as we know it. And now with Republicans controlling the House, the Senate, and the presidency, it's their intention to try and do it. Just watch what happens at the Republican budget hearing that is upcoming in terms of what's proposed. The cuts to Medicaid that will be devastating. Hospitals will close, including in rural America and urban America and in the heartland of America. Nursing homes will be shut down. And everyday Americans, children, seniors, those who are suffering with disabilities will be hurt as part of the Republican effort to target earned benefits like Social Security and Medicare and to destroy Medicaid as we know it. It's the Republican bait and switch. We will continue to expose it to the American people. House Democrats want nothing to do with it, and we're going to do everything in our power to stop it.